Hey guys, this is Dave Whichard, President of FFL Velocity. Welcome to Warrior Podcast. Super excited today with my man Keith Laferriere, and Keith has been with us. Well, I'll let him share a little bit about his story. But I've had an opportunity to meet him and his wife, and he got a beautiful family and everything. I won't take all the way. I want him to tell a little bit about his story. That's one of the main reasons I want to get him on today. Is to he's a killer here at our company. He's protecting probably minimum 30, but 40, 50 families a month. He's in that range. He's going to be a Hall of Fame producer here at FFL, and just he loves helping a lot of people. But Keith, if you could just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, so the people that don't know you, how you came to FFL, and just where you came from originally, what you were doing before, and that kind of thing.
Awesome, yeah. Thanks for having me on, Dave. This is always fun. I always love people that want to actually hear me talk. It's actually kind of humbling, and it really brings up my spirits to be able to help people and to be able to just to do these little things. It's awesome. As far as me, I was born up here in the Northeast. Started construction before finishing high school. Never really finished high school. Got out into the work field and started building houses. Did that for about 18 years, and then found was able to start my own company from there. In getting into construction industry at a young age, there's a lot of older guys and a lot of influences that I probably shouldn't have followed. Looking back at it now, but that led me into drinking and using drugs, and that captured about 8 to 9 years of my life, heavily. And then through the grace of God, I was arrested and sent to jail, and that's where I woke up. And through that, I believe that's where God pulled me out of it and was really working on me. And I spent almost 2 years of intense inpatient treatments, and it was life changing. Learned a lot about myself very fast. And just be able to be on these platforms here today and to be able to share my story with persons and people, and just to be able to help that one guy, that one lady struggling with, that's what it's all about to me. As far as finding family first life and then finding this industry, as I said, I was doing construction. We had started our own fire, water, and storm damage business. We're doing pretty good for about 3 years. We actually, our last year in business, we did the most we ever did. And that was really great for us. But at the same time, I was juggling all these jobs, and I was very stressed out, and I didn't really have that time freedom I was after. And I was on Facebook, scrolling along, and I seen a good friend of mine, and I seen what he was doing, and I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do next. So when I see something, I see an opportunity, and I love it, I just put the blinders on and go face first right into it. That's just kind of my pedigree and who I've been raised, and I think that was coming from construction and a strong work ethic. So,
Yeah. Now you met your wife. Um, what time did y'all meet? Y'all have tell us about your family as far as
yeah.
where you're at
So
now.
me and my wife, we actually met. She was just graduating high
Mm-hmm.
school, and I've known her since then. And then we were best friends for a while. And in 2001 of October, my older brother had got shot at a party, and he was paralyzed from the waist down. He still is. And during that time, during his recovery, me and my wife came together as best friends. We spent every day after work together. We worked. We kind of worked at the same place, and we always crossed paths. And then we got separated for a while. And she had her first son, and she had him. It was like right when I was getting clean, and then 6 to 8 months later, she was getting clean too. And then there was a period of time where her mother took Caleb, and because of my recovery and her recovery and me coming into that, I was able to adopt him when he turned 3. So with Caleb, his first name is Caleb with a K. His middle name is James, and his last name is Laferriere. So
Yeah.
God had set that up before I even thought about it. That we now have the same initials,
Yeah.
and Dave, it's crazy the amount of things that have happened since that day
Mm.
moving forward. I'm huge on perspective. Like Like I wake up every morning and think like I could be having to go report to a construction site and not being a part of my family every single day. Like having to go out and work 12, 14 hours a day and really not, make ahead and get ahead. And I was in that bubble for a very long time. And it was from this opportunity here and the people around me that I've been able to, move up in the company and, share my story.
Yeah.
So, me and my wife now, the 17th of September, we married 11 years. And I turned 40 this year, September 30th. So this month of September is going to be humongous for our family, for our life, for our business. And just, I can't say how much I'm honored and pleasure to be a part of this.
So the 14th is the anniversary, huh? Is that what you said? 17th, got it. Well,
yep,
happy anniversary.
Years.
Coming up here. And I had a chance to sit with Keith. We were up in the Providence area and had dinner with him and his wife. And Mary and I sat with you guys and heard a lot of this story, and the same emotion was there. I'm trying to keep myself together, keep moving here. But, I think that's the whole thing about, if you're watching this, it's like the heart of FFL is, for me, it's God. Like he's here, he's with us. This is, I'm not going to hide that. I think we're in a great place. I'm not going to preach to a lot of people, but at the end of the day, that's why we're here. We're here to serve people. Keith gets to get on the phone, go serve people in their homes, whatever he wants to do. And it's life-changing. I mean, you're hearing it. And talk about that, because when we were up there, you guys, you were trying to figure out a place to live. And I remember us, because when we left that meeting, and we were praying about that, and then I got a call, and that was a blessing to hear. But you guys got you a new house and things like that. That was a blessing. You weren't sure that was going to happen, but it worked out, right?
Yeah. I was just, had a little bit of self-doubt for a minute there.
Mm-hmm.
And just the consistent work and the consistent seeking after him first. Like, he adds all those things to me very quickly.
Amen to that.
There's the blessings that are beyond blessings here. And that's one of the first couple of videos I watched, January of 21, was Paul McLean.
Mm-hmm.
And he said just that. He's like, hey, I'm going to, we believe in this, but I'm not going to sit here and preach it. But in all honesty, just him speaking from his heart, like, that's the definition of preaching. Like, that is it right there. Like, that comes from his heart, and that he references the Bible, and that the CEO of his company, like, that's the only book he reads. Right. I'm like, I honestly believe him. Like, yes, you can see it in his daily actions. So, like, all those things have just, reassured me that this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I'm supposed to be doing. This is my time. This is my family's time to get ahead to that next level where I've been dreaming about for the past 11 years. So.
Well, God's using for sure. So talk about, you got here, what that looked like. So I remember talking to you last year, and you were really just kind of coming on. You're like, man, I'm trying to figure this thing out. And you started writing at a high level. I think over 300 families, I believe, last year. Well into 300 families, I believe. 320, 450, I don't remember the exact number. But I knew this year you were going to hit that 400 number, which I'm sure you're approaching that. But you changed some things. Just talk about the beginning of, the time here, because there's new people watching. Okay, how do I get started? Maybe some things you maybe overthought in the beginning, but you realize, hey, now that if I had to go back and do it again, I'd do it this way. But maybe some things to help people, and then talk about maybe even the transition to where you're at now.
Perfect, yeah. So when I first came into the business, really I was trying to figure it out, and I was just not very, really, to be honest, Dave, I thought it was going to be easier coming in here, and I didn't really expect the hiccups on the phone when I first got started. The first month I really didn't dial much, and I spent a lot of time just driving around and not really doing what everybody before me had told me to do. And it really took me until April, and when my back was against the wall, and I was like, all right, get out of your own head and just listen to what everybody's telling you to do. And that's when I would go out in the field, set 30 appointments a week. And then, getting into the houses and doing my first real 100 in-home appointments really cut my teeth very fast in this world. I did have some experience before of being in people's homes and, presenting myself. at the kitchen table to sell them, whatever they needed for construction repair services. So I had that little bit of, prior experience, but it was totally different going in there with a service that they can be provided, and you can know that in 20 years when they need it, it's going to be there. So I really just shifted it from going from more of a transactional sit down to more of getting to know the person, getting to know the human being on the other side of the table. That entitled with the massive action, 30 appointments plus a week. That's where I was able to protect more than 20 families in the first month of April of 21. And then really it was just adding fuel to the flame. And getting that work ethic down and getting your schedule down, and then really putting very intentional hours when you're working. Like, this is what I'm doing. I'm working now, and there's no other distractions. Just get out of my way. So then June, July, and August last summer, I challenged myself to run as many appointments as I could, and then tallied all up. At the end of the summer, I had run over 360 in-home appointments, right? Yep. And then, so through that, my numbers have gone, it was 40 families, 50 families, 60 families in the field. But at the same time, my wife's seen how much time I was away from the house. My wife's seen that we had just moved from Texas to New Hampshire, and we didn't really know what was going on. You know what I mean? And then she was like, hey, I understand you're trying to do this, but you being gone 10 o'clock 4 nights a week is not just going to work. So, and that's when virtual started coming out, and that's when telesales really started to hit out. So September of last year, I challenged myself to do more on the phone in the first couple of days of the week and still get out into the field, on the weekend. So the first week it didn't work out very good, the first couple of days. But then on the Thursday of that week, I went out in the field and I crushed it. And I was like, whoa, what am I doing? And then my wife's like, it's Friday night, it's 8 o'clock, you're not home. What are you doing? And I'm like, oh, guess I'm not doing this. So then the next week, I focused a little bit more in the beginning of the week, and I was like, okay. And I had made my first sale. I did my first Zoom close. I did it the first one over the phone. I was like, all right, I got some momentum. And then that weekend going out into the field, I didn't do quite as good because I wasn't as focused. I was like, look, I already got that done. I don't need to do this as good. And then, I kind of was like, I just shot myself in the foot. And then that third week was when I shot myself in both feet and really just kind of fell flat on my face. And what it was is I wasn't focused. I wasn't being intentional with my time. So I challenged myself again. The last week of September, I was able to issue more in the first 3 days of the week over the phone than I was able to do out in the weekend. That could have been my focus was off. Hey, I already did this. My Thursday wasn't as hard dialing. You know what I mean? So all of those factors could have played into. So anybody who's transferring now, just whatever you do not tiptoe around. Just go full force. If you're going to do 3 days on the phone, do 3 days on the phone. If you're going to then get into the weekend, be focused and be intentional and get out there. And then really the month of October was just that, figuring it out. Spending hours and hours of reading scripts and listening to videos. Ryan Reynolds stuff, he's the one he did a video with Grady. I rewatched it the other day because it was a year ago, 2 days ago, and I watched it. I was like, that's the video right there that said, I can do this. If he can do that, I can do this. What's so different? You pick up the phone, you call someone, and you project that caring over the phone. Mm-hmm. So October to December last year, we were in New Hampshire. It was snowing. I knew that the winter was going to be tough, so I needed to make sure that I can continue this high level of production over the phone. Mm-hmm. And then I ended up closing out the year almost at 350 families. I was a little disappointed in myself because I knew that if I didn't, tiptoe around in September and October, I would have hit Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. So, rolling into the beginning of the year this year, that was my goal, was to be at, that Hall of Fame level before the last quarter of the year. And, if I didn't I went off the gas a little bit a couple times, and if I didn't do that, I would already be at Hall of Fame, and I would be one that would hit it in 8 months.
Where are you at right now?
Right about 340.
Okay, where are you going to be? This month.
Yeah. So that's just the thing here is that, perspective of that, looking at it like, dude, like how much did like sit down and think about how much you've done in the past 8 months, and like stop beating yourself up about these low times. Like, you know, I can't say enough about it. Like, you just need to have that even, when it's a heartbeat, you know, it beats, then it goes back to where it's at. Beats, goes back to where it's at. No matter what it does, it always has that flat line. So I vision myself doing that all day. If I get emotional, calm down. Let's if we had a tough spot and someone doesn't want to give me their bank information over the phone, I'm just, you know, call the next person very quickly. That's how to get out of that. So
taking action does cure complacency, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's the thing, you know, just
Crazy.
taking action. But you've said a lot of things in there, and I think, you know, we can learn from it. Like you can, like even listen to yourself, going back watching this. If you think about it, and even if it's just picking the phone up and calling me. I mean, I'm not that I'm just savior or anything, Jesus is, but I'm just saying. Sometimes it's just reaching out to somebody. Man, hey, I'm not in a day. Hey, man, I need to talk. You don't even have to say things like that. Just call. Say, because here's the thing. We all get in our head. We all miss the chance to challenge it. So my challenge to you, Keith, would be every day when you wake up, hey, how can I get better day? And I know you're doing this. And challenge yourself, because you've had those ups and downs, but you can keep that consistency by just doing that. If you're watching this, that's what I would say. You can learn a lot from what Keith's saying, because he talks about a lot of those ebb and flows that we have in this business. The cool thing about Keith is he doesn't stay in them long. See, I'll text him, we'll talk, whatever, and he's like, hey, maybe last week wasn't great, but this week's better. And so it's, you know, staying in touch. We've had a better, you know, built a better relationship, and that's growing day by day. But he's my brother, and we're going to look out for him, and we're going to be there for one another. But at the end of the day, he's got to get up every morning. And here, talk about this real quick, because some people, in making that change, I think that I was talking to somebody about this the other day. It might have been Eric Schmidt, actually. But I think you got to go one way or the other. Now, I think hybrid is a way to figure it out at first to make sure you can. But here's the thing. If you're not good on the phone dialing, booking appointments, you got to get good at that first, because you can't even get in the home, but you certainly aren't going to go do telesales. Okay? I will say that up front. But would you also say that, I'm not saying it takes more work, but it takes more discipline, in my mind, to sit in that chair for 8 hours a day, because that's what's probably going to take to be successful. And you're probably going to have to write, I would say you're going to have to protect 10, like if you could probably have a really big business and grow it 20, 25, 30, you know, you can get away with that in the outside world, going out to see people. But would you also say that in the internal place of where you're at, it's probably going to have to be at least 30 or more every single month to make it work? Would you say that? And the discipline
Yes,
it takes in your own
100%.
home or wherever you are.
Yeah, so the biggest thing that I've learned is that you need to be really disciplined if you're going to be doing telesales, especially inside your own home. You know, those little distractions, anything will pull you away very quickly, and I'm guilty of it. You know, there's sometimes where it's like, you know you should be working, but you're not, and then you know the IP report tells that. So, and then the biggest thing from there is getting into a schedule and then being, you know, consistently on that schedule. And then have super intentional hours when you're in that seat for 8 hours. You know, and then constantly be, you know, refining your script and then listening to other people to see what they're doing, to see what's working, and then work that into what you're doing every day. You know? I love the fact that these the business overview meetings came up, and that there's local meetings all over the country, everywhere. You know, because it's extremely true, and I'll be the first one to tell you that face-to-face sales is different than over the phone. Face-to-face with an agent is different than over Zoom. It's, you know, you get in that room, and then you guys get that motivation, you start building up some momentum. You know what I mean? And that's a hard thing to compete with. You know, when we were, you know, what was it? A few weeks back when we were at the Mohegan Sun with Sean and Eric Schmidt and the whole crew down there, it was live. It was great. You know what I mean? And you got to talk to someone face to face and read their body language and know that these people are actually here together for everybody to win. So.
Yeah, 100%. When we came up to Providence to do that meeting, it was great. You got up and spoke, and that was great. You know, we're always learning, right? Always being around other people and learning and growing and things. That's what I love about FFL, is just get better every day, right? So can learn to and find people like Keith to learn from and grow. And so as we wrap this thing up, Keith, first of all, it's been a blessing to talk to you. It's great to hear you share your story. That was the whole goal here. And understand whether you come from construction, whether you come from addiction, like you just said. We all have things. Like, super excited about that. But as we wrap this up, any other last words? And then also, please tell them how to get a hold of you. How to get a hold of you.
Yeah, I just need to be completely honest and tell myself here. So September of last year, I had stopped drinking alcohol, and I think it was like it's been about 4 or 5 weeks now where I've gone back on that. And so tomorrow is a new day, and it starts a new month, and it starts a new Keith again. So that's being put down. And instead of pouring that poison into my body, I'm going to be pouring into the good things. The reading, I've gotten off of that. I've gotten off of my daily disciplines, my daily habits. I could give you an endless line of excuses, but they're just excuses. You know what I mean? It's now time to quiet down, stop talking, and get to work. So, and that's the same thing that triggered last year for me to stop drinking was just a trickle down effect from people in FFL. There's Jordan Lowy, Ben Smith, and then Chadwick. Like, those are the guys that I've been following, and they all stopped to seem to be, some time apart, and everybody decided to stop drinking. So that happened again, and now it's like, what happened? Why did you fall off? You know what I mean? And that just goes back to, just got to keep yourself, present. You got to be focused. You got to talk to the right people.
Yeah.
Don't get out of your head. You know what I mean? This is a tough place to be in. And those quick conversations on the phone with someone, that will get you out of it.
That's right.
Little things like this. These are the things that snap you out and bring you back to reality and perspective to where you're at and the seat that you're in and the opportunity that's in front of you. You know what I mean? And that can be said of any walk of life and anything that you're doing. You need to get that. You need to get that focus and that intentionality of what you're doing and why you're doing it. And once you get that inside of you, dude, you're unstoppable.
100%.
And the biggest thing that I've learned here in the past couple months is that, I used to care what people thought of me, and really I don't care anymore. Like, I used to say, I've said it for years, but now it's really deep down in my heart. I don't care. Like, there's nothing that you can do that can take me away from my path right now. So,
well, that's good to hear. And I know that's true. So we're here for you. We love you, bro. Always here for you. We're excited about the business you're growing. We're excited about what you're doing, protecting families. Excited about the changes you're making in life. And, again, it's just protecting yourself every day and having that right mindset. So I love hearing that and, making those changes. So that's good, man. Super excited for you in the future. But how do they get a hold of you, Keith? They want to work with you. He's one of the best I've ever seen at telesales. So you're especially virtual, but even though that he knows the home too. But he's building a business. You want to get a hold of Keith. You want to work with Keith. We'd love to have you. And Keith, how do they get a hold of you?
Yep, my number is 603-306-1386. And then it's just my, it's Keith J. Laferriere on Instagram. And then Keith Laferriere on Facebook.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, cool, man. Well, we appreciate you and, all you're doing in the business. VP growing his business, going to be bigger and bigger and help a lot of people. And I know God's blessing you. So we appreciate you being here, Keith. We love you, man. Appreciate you jumping on today, Warriors Podcast. And make sure you guys subscribe. Thanks for everything you do at FFL. Thanks, Sean, Mike Sizer, all the different people that allow us to do these things and teach us, and everybody in this business. Andrew Taylor, I can go on and on. All the different people that mattered in my life. And but that's the thing. We matter to each other. So I love being in business with you, brother. Can't wait to see the success. And thanks for being on today. Really appreciate it.